This is John Jackson Miller, writer of Star Wars comics and novels, and you're listening to Star Wars with Stevie B. May the Force be with you.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I got the Star Wars thesweuteen with us here today. He's another one of the young guns of the Force, as I like to call him. This younger generation that's really diving into the expanded universe. Lance here, he likes to live stream about random topics. He's read a lot of the books. He's putting out content. He's expressing how he feels. So I wanted to get him on here and chat with him and get a little bit of his backstory. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for this too. A lot of what's so great about this is how we all kind of, once we talk with somebody, it opens up the door for somebody else, and we just kind of keep daisy chaining, and we get to share our thoughts, and then opens up Discord servers, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm excited to have you here because your name's been brought up to me, and I'm digging what you're putting out there, man. And I wanted to get your backstory and share it with everyone.
Yeah.
So
well, my backstory isn't that interesting.
Everybody's is interesting, man. But so what are you currently reading right now? You were reading Outbound Flight, right?
Yeah, I'm still reading through that. I kind of have a whole list of what I'm going to read this year. I can go through that list if you want me to. It's kind of just sporadic, just across different eras. So at the moment, I'm reading Outbound Flight. Then after that, I'm going to go to the Old Republic and read Deceived. Then I'm going to go to... Gosh, I forgot what I was... I'll just start listing the books. I don't remember what order I'm reading them in, but... Oh, yeah, no. So Deceived is next.
Okay.
Then I'm going to read the Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin. Then I'm going to read Brian Daley's Han Solo trilogy. And then I'm going to read Yoda Dark Rendezvous. Darth Plagueis, because that's one I haven't read yet.
That's good.
Well, that's one. Obviously, it's one of the most well-known books. And then I'm probably gonna read Shatterpoint next, and because I wasn't gonna read that, but I was gonna read Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mendor. And people were like, "You should read Shatterpoint first." I'm like, "Okay, I'll read Shatterpoint."
I love that book.
So I threw Shatterpoint in there. Then after that, I'm going to finish up Dark Nest trilogy because I read the first book. It was a slog, which is, it's weird because I'm a huge NGO fan. I get to that trilogy and it's like, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. So I just kind of stopped, started going to other stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of my list for this year so far.
That's quite a list and some really good books in there too.
Yeah.
I haven't read a lot of them that you mentioned either. So I'm still continuing my journey, just taking my time through it and enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to read Darth Plagueis and all the Old Republic stuff because I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Fun. Last year I played a lot of video games last year. That was kind of what I was doing. I played both KOTOR games. I played The Force Unleashed, Republic Commando. I was playing through the big ones. But last year was when I really started diving into the Old Republic, which is interesting because the year before that I was reading post-Jedi stuff. So then I started getting into the Old Republic. So Tales of the Jedi, I haven't read the KOTOR comics. I want to start those soon though. But I played KOTOR 2. I'm actually replaying KOTOR 2 right now. And then because I love both of those games. This is my favorite Star Wars games. Why is my lighting weird?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, you look good. I could see you.
There it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does that a lot. Anyway, so KOTOR 1 and 2, I love those games. KOTOR is my favorite Star Wars game ever, but I love KOTOR 2 as well. Then I read Revan, which I know that's a controversial book. I loved it, but I know it's pretty controversial. I really liked it. I get a lot of the criticisms, but I guess I did. I kind of wish it connected more KOTOR games and then connected KOTOR 2 a little bit more with SWTOR. Okay. But so, and speaking of SWTOR, I've been playing through that. I'm on Onslaught, the expansion, which is one of the second to last expansion they've released. I'm on that one. Uh-huh. And I'm loving it. I love SWTOR. I think everyone should play it.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up to you later on because I'm not familiar with the games. Mm-hmm. They were around when I was gaming, but I wasn't into that style.
Yeah.
At the time. So I was going to bring that up because I'm curious about it because I want to play them, but it's just kind of hard to find the time for me now to
Right.
do
Yeah.
that.
You have to devote a lot of
Yeah.
time to especially SWOTOR. SWOTOR takes hours and hours. I mean, it takes about the main class story, like without the expansions, just the default story that you can play for free.
Yeah.
That takes it's about as long as KOTOR, and then you have all the expansions after that, which is a lot of hours.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And games like that, you'd want to devote the time to because then you
Yeah.
can play for an hour and not even do nothing.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
Yeah, especially with SWOTOR because there's a lot of walking around. There's a lot of going to one place to the other, and then stuff like that. So, yeah.
So how did what is your first memory? Like we'll jump on this topic here for a little bit. Like what's that first memory when you hear Star Wars?
Just in general or EU?
No, in general. Star
general,
Wars in
okay.
general. Yeah. Like your first memory of it.
The earliest I remember was watching Return of the Jedi for the first time. My sisters told me that I would go, like when I was younger, I would go in her room and watch the movies with her. I don't remember any of that, but from what I remember, it was watching Return of the Jedi for the first time. And I remember the opening scene with 3PO and R2. Well, I guess that was after the Death Star thing, but I remember when they were walking on Tatooine and when they got to Jabba's palace, going in there, how creepy it was and eerie.
Dark.
Yeah. And then I don't remember any of the indoor stuff, like my first time watching it. But I do remember the final scene with Luke and Vader. The duel. But one of my favorite scenes in the saga, and this is one I remember vividly watching, was when Luke took his helmet off and you saw his face for the first time. That was something that always stuck with me.
That's a big moment.
Yeah.
That's a big that whole scene and how it played out. And I mean, when I think of it too, I think of the same thing. Luke walking down all in black, right?
Mm-hmm.
The green lightsaber later on.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, quite. So you were brought up with the original trilogy.
I was kind of brought up with both.
Okay.
I remember watching Jedi first, but to me, growing up, all 6 movies, they were the same to me. I didn't see them as prequels and originals. I just saw them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I saw them, right? So, I mean, I am an OT guy, but growing up, I love the prequels probably just as much.
Yeah.
But I kind of grew up with both.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with the OT, but I was like a teenager, and then 20 when the prequels came out. So I like one. So the OT has always got a special place for me. Now I love that how you said that 1 through 6 is just like one piece. That's really interesting. Is there a favorite out of the 1 through 6 that you really enjoy? Like your favorite one, like when you want to watch one, that's the one you watch.
Yeah, A New Hope.
New Hope.
A New Hope, yeah, for sure. Okay. Though when I was young, it was Revenge of the Sith. That's probably it's up there. Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, and Jedi. Those are my top 3. But at the moment, and it's been like this for a while, it's A New Hope. A New Hope has been my favorite.
Yeah, I think a lot of people used to say Empire, Return of the Jedi. Now it's like the older you get, the more you watch it. A New Hope is just like to me, it's like a perfect film, perfect movie. It's just from start to finish. Yeah. There's no comparison. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the sequel trilogy? Now, like I'm a fan of both. I've watched the movies. A couple months back, and I tried to give them another shot. I'll go back and do that from time to time. But it just still doesn't. It just feels like after reading so much of the EU so far, like it just feels like I wish they would have went with that type of a story, in a sense.
Well, gosh. Well, I grew up with the sequels, so I'm in an interesting situation. I watched them as they came out.
Right.
I remember when The Force Awakens came out, I was in 5th grade, and I remember the hype around it was crazy. The lead up to it, I still remember it. And I still remember the lead up to The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And I was excited for both of those films. The Last Jedi was a movie. Well, first of all, I enjoy The Force Awakens. It's not a bad movie. It's uncreative, but it's still good. It's still fun. Probably one of the funnest. I know it's not really a word, but
no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's probably the most fun Star Wars movie to watch. The Last Jedi was one I really enjoyed growing up, but as I've gotten older and as I've read more of the books, the more I've kind of just lost interest. And not just that, it's a lot of what they're doing with Luke immediately after Jedi, with what we saw in the Book of Boba Fett, with what I was told, what was how he was written in Shadow of the Sith. I haven't read that book. I don't ever plan on reading it, but from what I was told, he doesn't like Ben calling him uncle. I'm like, what? What's the point of that?
Yeah.
And then with the Book of Boba Fett, I mean, his portrayal in that was just terrible. At least at first it was fine, and then as we got more into it, was that scene with him. You can only pick the lightsaber or the chain. Jedi or your family. It's basically what that was to me. I was like, nah, I don't agree with that. As that, I don't think Luke would do that. So initially, I didn't. I liked his characterization in The Last Jedi, but now that I'm seeing how they're contextualizing it, it's a no go for me. But I still do really enjoy a lot of the decisions made in those movies or in that movie. Rey and Kylo and their dynamic was great. Snoke dying was a great decision in my opinion. I think that it's like when have you read Legacy of the Force?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a moment in there. I haven't even read it, but I know about it. So,
Okay.
But there's a moment in there that is similar to that, and it did a lot of the same. It did a lot of the same things, which I guess makes sense because the sequels lifted their story from. But anyway, so I agreed with Snoke dying. I thought that was a good decision. I liked the Luke and Kylo thing on Crate. I will always love Luke's death. I will always love in the sequels. I thought it was handled greatly. I know people are gonna hate me for that, but
no, man, no hate on this channel. It's all positive vibes here, brother.
Well,
okay? It's all good.
Yeah. Well, so I liked it, but his characterization in general, it's not that it's bad in the movie, though I don't agree with him wanting to kill Ben. I get he did it out of instinct, but I don't know. I'm still wrestling with that concept, but just his whole reason for wanting the Jedi to end, I just don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then The Rise of Skywalker, I mean, terrible movie. So there you go. I mean, I hated it when it first came out. I still hate it. It's the only Star Wars movie I guess I've ever disliked. I guess. I mean, TLJ, it's all right. TFA's good. Rogue One, I enjoy. Solo, I enjoy. Rise of Skywalker, I hate. So.
Yeah. Okay. Them are some very good, interesting points. That's what I like about this, man. Because it's like sometimes you make me think. Like now, I'm thinking back to that scene with Luke and Kylo, and they're going like, I mean, some aspect in The Force Awakens, there was big hype about that. See, like to me, the most hype I've ever had in any Star Wars film was with The Phantom Menace. I was at the perfect age, and it was just crazy. Like I still talk about it all the time, but it was an awesome moment. But I remember The Force Awakens was a big deal for everyone. I liked seeing, Mark Hamill back, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. I liked seeing them all together. Well, they weren't together in the film, but back. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool. So every now and then I want to go back and I'm going to rewatch them again, check them out, see if I change my opinion. The Book of Boba Fett, I like that whole scene. You know what I mean? With Luke showing up, that blew my mind. Like I think they're getting better and better with the deep fake stuff and the animation graphics and what have you.
So it did look a lot better. Yeah, he looked good. He didn't sound good. He sounded bad. I mean, you can tell it was synthesized, but he looked really good.
Which I think they're trying to work on that whole voice thing now too. Since James Earl Jones kind of signed his Darth Vader voice over to them to use whenever now. So I'm sure they're probably trying to tweak that, get it better, which I'm sure they will. Big company, a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what did you think of the other films? Because I like Solo. I thought that was great. Rogue One was good.
Well, Rogue One is a movie that I didn't understand it initially when it came out at all. I was young, and there was a lot of like Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
I was young. I hadn't watched Clone Wars yet. Well, I had seen parts of it, but I didn't connect that character I remember from the Clone Wars to that character in Rogue One. I didn't connect them as the same guy. So because I didn't really remember his name. I remembered the character. I remember the story on Onderon, but I didn't remember. I didn't connect to the same person.
Yeah.
And then the pilot, I just didn't really understand it at first, but obviously I'm older now. I've watched it a couple times. Actually, rewatched it a few months back, and I thought I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun too. I don't really have any problems with it. I mean, there's not really. It's a pretty simple. It's your typical Star Wars story.
Yeah.
You know, if you break it down. Of course, the Vader thing is cool. The Battle Scarab is cool, but which is don't. I feel like a lot of people love that movie because of that third act. They don't really remember the first two acts. Like I don't remember the guy with that big gun. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Baze Malbus, something like that. Anyway, so I enjoy the movie, but
okay.
Yeah, it's there. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, the Solo is my go-to if I'm going to watch one of the newer films because it's a fun story. You know, that's what it is.
Solo's fun too.
Yeah, it's a story.
I remember watching it in theaters and thinking, yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But from what people have told me, it did draw a lot from the Han Solo trilogy and from Bryce Crispin. That's what I've been told. Not that it drew a lot, but it had a lot of similarities to it. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Because I don't think they didn't read that trilogy. No. I doubt they did.
No.
So it probably just I don't know, a lot of similarities from what I was told.
You know, well, who knows? There could be somebody on a board meeting somewhere that says, "Hey, I've read these novels. Maybe we should do this." That would be an interesting, have a conversation with somebody about that.
Maybe Hidalgo. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, Paulo's read Brian Daly. Why wouldn't he have read A.C. Crispin's?
I haven't read them yet. I heard they were good, as well as Brian Daly's. So I'm excited to get there on the journey too. So Solo, have you watched any? Are you up to date with all the newer shows, the series like the Bad Batch and?
I'm up to date with most of them. I haven't been watching Bad Batch season 2 because I mean Bad Batch season 1 is probably the worst Disney project for me. I say that, but then there's Kenobi. I haven't really liked any of the shows yet. I liked Mando season 1. I enjoyed that. Okay. Season 2, I didn't like a lot of things in it, but I've accepted it. Book of Boba Fett was just, I guess, dumb. I don't know. Kenobi, I thought was disrespectful. Kenobi's probably my least favorite, but not a big Obi-Wan fan. I
wasn't a fan of the show. Hey, I liked it, but the more I hear people and the reasonings why, I'm starting to see it. And to me, they should have threw a buttload of money on that project, in my opinion, with them two characters and also the actors coming back.
Yeah. And see, what I think about what they did about that show or with that show that I think made it to what it was, they tried to make it another installment of the saga.
Yeah.
That's what they tried to do. They should have kept it an isolated story about Obi-Wan, but they didn't. They tried to make it episode 3.5.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they should have. Now, I haven't read the Kenobi book, but I know it was nothing like that. It focused on Obi-Wan. I think you seem to be a big fan of it. You've had.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yes, it's hard to explain. I was on an interview the other day. But it's its own standalone story. You know what I mean? But it's not really centered around Obi-Wan, but John Jackson Miller made it work, and it really worked. Like, people got to read it to understand. It's kind of hard to explain, So yeah, I'm a fan of it. And they did supposedly Ewan McGregor and Deborah Chow read the book, and then they kind of took notes, and this is something Mr. Miller overheard. That's where the meditation came from in the show, because in the book, Obi-Wan does a lot of meditating, trying to reach out to Qui-Gon. So, and I'll just leave it at that. So they did add that aspect from the book into the show, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess you would kind of expect it too, though, because in Revenge of the Sith, remember?
You're right.
Yoda said, "I got training for you."
Yeah. So. I just read Rogue Planet. I don't know if you read that, but it's just awesome. And there's a lot of quiet Obi-Wan trying to, it's just really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking. Okay, so you're kind of up to date. You haven't really liked a lot of them yet.
Mhm.
I get that. I get that. I respect that.
Yeah. I do
But
plan on. I haven't watched Bad Batch season 2. I will watch it when it all comes out. I will do that.
yeah,
And then with Mando season 3, I am actually pretty interested in that show or in that season. I think it could. It's kind of going in a way I really wanted the show to go to at the beginning, because at the beginning it focused on the Jedi and the Force and
right.
I want this to be a show about bounty hunters
Yeah.
and Mandalorians and that kind of stuff. Grogu, and it's the same problem I have with the Bad Batch with Omega. Can we? I wanted the Bad Batch to be a show about clones trying to make their way in this new empire, which they are, but it's like a weight that it's being held under with
Yeah.
Omega. With that, I don't know. It's not that Omega's a bad character or anything like that, though. I don't think she really makes sense. They say she's unaltered, yet she's enhanced. So I don't understand that part, but
I get what you're saying.
that's the first thing I remember from when I first watched the season. I'm like, wait, you said she's enhanced, but then you said she's just like Boba Fett.
Well,
Since
and
he's
who knows where this show all of a sudden it hits you with something, and there could be a plot twist, and now I'm not going to spoil anything because you haven't watched it yet. So,
Yeah.
but I got a response to that, but I'm not going to give it to you.
Did they explain what she
not
came from?
not yet, but they're starting to realize more, and now one of them's went off. With I don't want to spoil it for you, man.
So I should probably watch it.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get me going into it because I'm a fan of season 1. I thought the epic first episode was amazing.
Oh, the first episode was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I mean, there are some fillers for sure. Each of these series have a bunch of filler stuff now. But so yeah, one of the clones leaves the group and goes off and with someone else, and they're starting to. It's different. You'll see. I know that's not a lot, but I just don't want to give it away.
Yeah, well,
because I try to stay away from spoiler stuff myself.
No, you can spoil the new canon. I don't care. No, don't spoil it. I'm gonna watch it and see for myself. But
okay, you mentioned before about the books. I was going to ask you, when did you learn that there was like a whole, bajillion books to read?
I was young, probably around 2015, 2016. Only just through YouTube. I think I don't remember his name, Lore Master. So he's a YouTuber. He makes lore videos. But at the front of his videos, he would put disclaimers that say, "This is canon. This is legends." I'm like, "What is that? What does that mean?" So then I looked it up, and then I saw, oh wait, so Legends is this whole other continuity, and it had its own story. So that's the first time I ever learned about it. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then I learned, they made this new continuity when Disney took over, and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And but I didn't really. But I guess to answer your question, not to get on I was gonna start talking about my story, but anyway.
Well, yeah, your story.
You want me to go ahead? Okay.
Sure, yeah.
So I always knew about the EU. Always knew about it. Around The Force Awakens when that came out.
Yeah.
Maybe even before, I don't know. So, but then what I've always had an interest in, when I first found out about the Yuuzhan Vong, that was always the coolest thing in my opinion, because of how unique it is. Aliens from another galaxy invading. Isn't that the coolest concept ever? I always thought it was cool. Galaxy far, far away. There's other galaxies out there. That's a cool concept to explore. And I guess they didn't really explore other galaxies, but they explored a species from another galaxy, and that's kind of where it started. That's where the interest started.
Okay.
So probably around the Rise of Skywalker time, maybe that's early 2019, I'd say. I saw a post on Instagram about the Vong, and I'm like, okay, I want to start reading about these guys now. Let's actually read these stories. So I went in the comments and I'm like, what's the first story chronologically after Jedi? Because, I'm sure that I knew that there was a whole selection of books I'd missed and I wanted to catch up.
Yeah.
So someone said The Truce of Bakura. So I went ahead and picked that book up, and then I picked up the first 3 books of the NJO. Well, I hadn't read a book in forever, so I started Truce Bakura, couldn't get into it all. I was lost. I didn't really know what I was reading because I hadn't really read in a while. And I just wasn't, it really just didn't draw me in yet.
Okay.
But then I heard about, and then I was told about the Thrawn trilogy. And then they said, read these books, you'll get hooked. Well, I did. I read those books. Heir to the Empire was my first EU book I ever completed, right?
Okay.
Same with, and then of course I read the whole trilogy, and just beautiful books. And then I kind of went from there. I read the Jedi Academy trilogy. I wanted to read that first before I read the Truce Bakura, because the Jedi Academy trilogy, this is how Luke rebuilt the Jedi Order. I mean, isn't that the coolest thing ever?
Right.
So that's what I read, and I love that trilogy even more than I did the Thrawn trilogy. So then I went back, I read Truce Bakura. I skipped X-Wing because I was dumb and thought, well, it's not about Luke and Leia, so I don't want to read it. Well, after reading the NJO and, experiencing some of those characters, Corran Horn, Tycho, all those characters, right? I'm like, oh, this is some really interesting characters. So I have the whole series. You can't really see it. I have the whole series now. I haven't read it yet, but I will go and read those at some point. But I read The Courtship of Princess Leia, Tatooine Ghost. Then I pretty much read most of the Bantam era, if not all of it.
Yeah, I was going to say you read quite a big chunk from what I recall.
Yeah. I've read most of the post Jedi era. That's kind of where I started. That's my area of speciality, you could say.
Well, not to jump off the subject real quick, but since you were kind of pointing at your books, soft cover or hardcover?
Mostly soft cover, but I do have a lot of hardcover. Like I have Zahn's trilogy in hardcover. I have Shadows of the Empire in hardcover. I have a lot of them in hardcover, but
you prefer hardcover?
It depends. Okay. I prefer hardcover on the shelf, but I prefer reading paperbacks. Like sitting down and reading, I'd rather read a paperback book.
Yeah, me too. So you read The Courtship, a lot of the Bantam. We left off. You read a lot of the Bantam era, if I remember.
Yeah.
Jedi Academy trilogy. You brought that up. So that's pretty high up on the list, I would say.
Yeah.
For you, right? Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed that too a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah, before I read NJO, those were my books. Those were my favorite. So they're not my favorite anymore. NJO is, but Jedi Academy, it's number 2. It's 2. Up there. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Love those books.
So I haven't read, just so you know, I haven't read any of the new Jedi Order. I own them all. I can't wait to get there because everybody says how amazing it is in that story. And what's great is, Mr. Schreiber brought it up. You haven't read Maul Lockdown, have you? No. Okay. Well, that book starts off where Maul is fighting one of the Vaughn.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing. I love that book.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it up. Because your reasoning behind it was really, really good from what I hear. But Vector Prime is your favorite book, yeah?
That's my favorite. That's my boy. That's my book.
Yep. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, it usually takes me about a week to read one of these books. Well, if I'm reading consistently. It's been well over a week since I started Up on Flight. I haven't finished it yet. I just don't have a whole lot of time to read, but I say that yet I'm on a live stream right now. Just kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. But Vector Prime took me about 3 days to read. I could not put the book down from start to finish. I think what surprised me the most about that book, spoiler alert for that book, by the way. We're going to get into some big spoilers for that.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
I haven't, but unfortunately, I've heard.
So you know the death and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can spoil it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Mitch, go ahead. Okay. It's a spoiler here, folks.
Before I get to that, Kip Duran.
Okay, yeah.
Because obviously I'm a big Jedi Academy fan. Going into the series, I thought he's just going to be mentioned every once in a while. He really isn't going to have much of a role. he has a huge role in that book, massive role in that book, and then the whole series. I'm not going to get into exactly what he does in that book, but he has a huge role in that book. He's a central character. So, just let you know, Steve, he's a huge character.
Yeah, I've heard
Look
that
forward
too.
to that.
Yeah. Well, I am.
Yeah. So I didn't expect that. So that was really surprising. And then the Chewie thing. I'm a big defender of his death. The way he died, when he died, how he died. Big defender of all of it.
I don't know how it happened. I just know that he died. And
okay,
I remember that moment because I had the podcast, somebody's podcast going on. I don't remember who, at work. And I turned away and I was going to do something and that happened. I just stopped and I looked back at my jam box and I'm like, what? And I had to go back and, I'm like, come on, man. So now, I'm very careful what I try to listen to because, reading it, I can just imagine how it affected you.
It was, even though I knew what was going to happen, I knew how it was going to happen.
No.
I knew the details around it. But it's still, first of all, I guess when you're spoiled on that, when you're actually reading it, you know it's going to happen, but you don't want it to happen. So there is like a positive to being spoiled. You know it's going to happen. You just don't want it to happen. It's like when it's like watching Revenge of the Sith after watching the originals. You know what's going to happen. You don't want it to. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. It was just beautiful. It was amazing the way Salvatore did that. And screw those who were getting on him for that. First of all, it wasn't his decision. I don't know if you know the story of how they came to that decision.
I don't know. It was they had like a big meeting about it, and they were like, somebody's got to die, from my understanding. So they kind of had to pick.
You want me to tell you the story of how it happened? Because it's kind of big. And Lucas is involved.
Oh, really? George?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what they wanted, they knew. Yeah, they knew the Bantam era was fun. It was good, but nobody died. I mean, there were some deaths here and there, obviously, but nobody died. Nobody big died.
No main. Yeah.
And they wanted somebody big to die so they can be like, okay, we ain't playing around here with these guys. This ain't gonna be fun and games like the Bantam era. Even though the Bantam era was amazing, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a lot more serious in tone. So they knew they'd kill somebody off, but they didn't know who to kill off. Someone from the movie, someone important, someone we all knew and loved. Well, their first pick was Luke. Now, Lucas said hell to no, obviously. He said no. And then they wanted Han. I think Lucas said no again on that. So I guess they sent him a big list of characters. Well, the character that wasn't on that list was Chewie. And that's where they went. So Lucas, he's the one who indirectly said kill Chewbacca off. Or at least he indirectly approved it. It was actually Randy Stradley who name dropped him.
Okay.
He was an editor at Dark Horse Comics, which is ironic because Dark Horse, they're kind of salty. They didn't have much of a role in that. They're not salty, kind of an exaggeration there, but he name dropped it, and that's who they ended up going with. And Lucas, he wasn't against it, and that's where he kind of gave his approval on that. It was Lucas was involved. Dark Horse. I mean, it was a big thing, and Chewie was the one they went with.
Yeah, I knew about Luke and Han, but I didn't know that whole side of it. Yeah, I didn't, or maybe I didn't finish listening to what I was hearing. So yeah, that's pretty wild, and it's a 19-book, I believe, series, correct?
19 books. Yep.
Yeah.
By the time you're in Star by Star, you're gonna wish it was 20 more books. It's that good.
Yeah. All right.
You don't want it to end.
I'm looking forward to it a lot because, like you mentioned earlier, Vector Prime was a book that you read, like you couldn't put it down. Now, when somebody finds a book and it does that to you, that's your book. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no question about it. Mall Lockdown is that to me because it's the one I've read the most. Mm-hmm. Do you collect like do you own a lot of all the books? Are you still working on your collection?
I'm still working on it. I've gotten. I don't know if you can really see it. There's two
Okay.
shelves here, and then there's one over here. You can't see it. I have most of it, I'd say. Yeah, I would say I need to go like get a timeline and check off what I have. But
Yeah.
I have most of Post Jedi. There's only a couple I'm missing. I'm missing Scourge. I'm missing Fate of the Jedi. I haven't finished collecting that series. And X-Wing Mercy Kill. What else? Am I missing anything else? I don't think so.
That's a good collection, yeah.
Yeah, I have most of it. What I'm working on now is over here. I have prequel stuff over here, OT stuff over here.
Okay.
So
Comics?
actually, I got this mail yesterday.
Oh,
Labyrinth
that's
of
a
Evil.
good
Yeah.
book there.
And then I have all the novelizations except Revenge of the Sith. So that's coming in, and it's in hardcover. So I'll have the whole Dark Lord trilogy in hardcover.
Nice.
So it's pretty. It kind of has it by accident.
No, well, that's cool though. That's a good accident.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
what happened was I ordered Revenge of the Sith, but he sent me Labyrinth of Evil. I'm like, hey, I'll keep Labyrinth of Evil. I'll throw some extra bucks your way. Can I have Revenge of the Sith too?
Yeah.
So I bought it on. Do you know about Mercari? Have you ever heard of that website before?
No.
That app?
No. Mm-mm.
It's kind of like eBay, just no bidding, which is real cool.
Just
You
straight
just
up
buy it, and there you go.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, you can make deals, 10% off, 15, whatever.
Right.
But I think you can get it on your phone. I recommend you do that if you're still collecting.
Yeah.
I recently bought the entire Last of the Jedi series.
Nice.
The young adult books in one lot. It was like $50.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I got the whole series, and it's in pretty good condition too.
Yeah, I think I only got like one or two of them. They're never hard to find. When I get to like a half price books, that's when I check them out. But like eBay and a lot of people, I bought the whole Jedi Apprentice set except one of the special editions. It was like $100. Mm-hmm. And then I was checking for the Quest and the Last Jet, but they're pricey sometimes.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of Jedi Apprentice, I recently found a lot on that. It's called Mercari, Mercari. I really recommend you get it. You'll love it.
Okay, I'll check it out for sure. You hear that, though? We got to. We'll have to talk about it after.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's trustworthy. I promise. I've just been buying books from there these past couple of weeks. Anyway,
cool.
I bought Jedi Apprentice first 12 books, and then the 18th book. I need to get books 13 and 17, and then I'll have a complete set. Wait, is there any more than 18? How many books are in the series?
There's 18, 19, 18, and then 2 special editions.
Are the special editions new books in the series, or are they just like different covers?
No, they're new books, yeah.
Oh, they are?
They're fancier covers and stuff too, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll look for that.
I'm missing one, and it's like $40. It's like, go figure,
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's interesting. I'll have to check that site out because I'm still trying to work on my collection too. Have you read any of? Well, we've talked a little bit, but like about the High Republic, you've read some of the newer canon too. I have as well. Have you read any other? Any of the other books besides like the High Republic in the newer canon? Like Master and Apprentice. Nothing.
I haven't. No.
No, just the High Republic.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think if I have. I have a small little collection, but I haven't read any of them.
No. Okay.
No.
I've read some of the High Republic, and I thought it was good, but what turned me away was just how fast they were coming out. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't want to speed through a book just so I can watch a stream or get a review. You know what I mean? Like, because I like to hear what other people think and say. So I just felt like they were pushing a lot of the books out so much between the adult books, the young adult books, like the middle-aged kids books. There was just a lot. And, as someone that likes to own things and have the books, and it was just too much, for me. But the stories, I thought, in the direction they were kind of going was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What's your opinion or thought on that? Or what'd you think?
I don't think it was too fast. For me, it wasn't. Though I don't know. I'm actually kind of glad it kind of went out fast. That way I can just buy them all together and then read them all together. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing with the EU now. So, because these have all been out for years.
All right.
So, what is turning me off though is the fact they're going like in phase 2. It's like 100 years before then, 200 years before
Yeah, something like
phase
that.
1.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Like you just spent the past couple of years, or
In this little window.
they're only releasing phase 1 for about a year. That's crazy. But you just spent this whole year on these small cast of characters, and now you're going back in time. So what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've heard it was. I heard, like I said, I've heard a lot of it's good. The phase 2 stuff. I don't have any of it, obviously, but
yeah,
I've heard it's good. But I don't know. I may just read phase 1, leave it at that.
Yeah.
Though I heard it's like a big tragedy. Phase 1 is Starlight Beacon gets destroyed and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it was. They had a good idea, kind of what they wanted to do, and it kept me interested. But then, like, it just turned me off because then I felt like, oh my gosh, I got to read this book, and then I got to get this young adult book out of the way because you don't have to read it to make the story understand. But some characters are just like kind of how we're reading now through the expanded universe. Mm-hmm. Some of these characters are popping up. Kip's coming back. That's cool. I like that, but do it in a different kind of process rather than speedy. Like you said, these books been out for years, and people still love them. People are still buying them. The stories are great. They're like classics in a sense. I mean, I can't wait for you to read Plagueis. That's a great novel. Yeah. I think you'll really enjoy that.
Yeah, I know some people that like I don't know if you've watched any of my streams, but there's a girl and her name is Max. She's a huge Plagueis fan. It's ridiculous at times.
Yeah,
it's not ridiculous. It's great. She loves that book, and in fact, I actually recently bought it too. My first purchase on Mercari was Plagueis. No Legends banner. I'm not the biggest fan of Legends banners. We can talk about that later, but the hardcover, I've seen it go for like $9,000. I'm not paying that for a hardcover.
I know it.
Actually, I think that was only like one auction or whatever. I've actually seen it on Amazon. It was going for like $100 or something.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I've looked that back up, but it's expensive for the right reasons. I know Kenobi is expensive too. The hardcover is.
Yeah, it is. I got it back there on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right next to Shatterpoint, the original hardcover first edition.
I don't have any I don't have many Clone Wars books. I think the era that I don't have that much of is Clone Wars.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. You're enjoying the journey, man. Collecting. I was going to ask you about that. It's fun getting books in the mail, is it not? It's like getting a present. It's like Christmas. Well, it's great. Yeah, that's what my wife gets mad at me when she sees packages. I mean, she doesn't get mad at me because she's a sweetheart. She's a big supporter, but she's like, "Oh, what kind of present did you get in the mail today?" It's just kind of. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, well, my mom. No, I don't have a wife. I'm not married.
No, I know. You're a young buck. You're a young gun.
Yeah, but my mom, she's cool with this. She really likes she likes how much I enjoy it. Because it's, a lot of kids my age, they'll go spend their money on crap, stuff they don't need, like drugs. A lot of people my age will go do that. I'm spending it on Star Wars books.
You're reading.
Yeah, that too. I'm reading. I'm expanding my knowledge.
Knowledge is power. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my knowledge of Star Wars is very powerful.
That is. Yes.
Yeah. So it's. I love collecting though. It's a lot of fun. In fact, actually, I got this recently too. This was a really cool find.
Oh, look at that!
Do you know what this book is?
That's the last. That's the. Yeah.
Because if you get it in paperback, it's gonna have a Legends banner. Now, again, I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, I didn't want that. Now, I may get the paperback just to have it, but this doesn't have a Legends banner, and this is the only way to get this book without it. So.
Very nice. I honestly, I don't, how do I explain this? I don't care, but I care. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I like things to look kind of nice on the bookshelf. You know, like I'm a fan of the Essential Legends stuff because of multiple reasons. You know, it's getting other fans involved, different eyes. It's bringing the books back. They look nice. Yeah, it would have been cool if they would have did some things differently. You know, like a little. I believe Chris Nelson, mutual friend of ours, he said it best. Like it would have been nice to have the authors maybe put like a little something in there, a paragraph or something different added. So I'm okay with it, but I want things to look nice on the shelf, you know,
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
Well, for me, I mean, obviously, I don't like title legends. I just
Okay.
don't like that label, that word applied to the EU.
Okay.
I think a better word would be vintage, like they do with the Disney Plus stuff with
Oh, yeah.
Ewoks and droids. I think vintage would have been a perfect word for the EU. Vintage is like people love vintage stuff.
Yeah.
It's they're vintage. It's because they're old, but they're popular. They're classics. They're loved. That's why they're called vintage. And I think vintage would have been a perfect title, but we didn't get that. But generally speaking, the main reason why I guess I don't like Legends banners, the banner itself, maybe not the word banner itself,
for that
it
reason.
makes the book look ugly, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't like having that on the shelf. I like having the beautiful Bantam logo or the Del Rey logo.
Yeah, them are
on the
nice.
shelf. It looks great. Let me show you.
Yeah, bring one up. Yep.
Change your mind, but I mean,
Perfect.
these two books are like chronologically right next to each other.
Yes.
I'd rather have that one on the shelf. I mean, it just
Yeah.
looks good. This just makes, I don't know, the Legends banner is just, it looks like it's discounted, or I don't know how to explain it.
No, I hear you. It makes sense. I've ordered some books off of eBay and I wasn't sure if it was a Legends banner or not. You know, like the big warehouses or they got whatever. There's a little mark of black strip on the top left side, whatever, the first page. And I've gotten some where they were like really nice without the Legends banner and like really great shape. And then I got some with the Legends banner that were, but yeah, when you say it like that and you compare them, and I never really thought about like how you mentioned there about the Legends title itself. You know, I never really thought of it in that sense of you did. You know, you didn't like that. And the vintage, you know, I like that. That's good. But I think now it might be just too far down, you know, gone that they can't really go back and
Yeah, now everybody knows it as Legends. It's not,
right.
It's not the EU. It's not the books. It's just Legends. So,
do you?
Which collect- I mean, when I hear that title, I don't rage at it.
Right.
You know, I used to. No, I didn't rage at it, but I just never liked it. I just, and a lot of it is Matt Wilkins. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yep.
He put a great video out years ago called Star Wars Expanded Universe, Beginning and the End, or something like that. It's one of my favorite video he ever put out. And he talks about his story of how he became an EU fan. But then he goes into why EU fans were so disappointed and upset about what happened. And it's a really emotional video. I mean, I know these are just Star Wars books, but you know, Star Wars, these books have had the same impact that Marvel Comics has had on people, that DC has had on people. Because we grew up with this stuff.
You know, it's funny you're saying that, and I don't mean to interrupt you because this was a question I've been wanting to ask people, and you're kind of just going right into it without me asking. Mm-hmm. But like, how has Star Wars impacted your life?
Oh, it's other than my faith, it's a huge part of my life. It's probably something I spend most of my time thinking about and, you know, experiencing.
Yeah.
I guess other than work and school. Anyway, Star Wars for my free time, that's all. I'm either reading Star Wars, playing Star Wars, talking about Star Wars, that kind of stuff in my free time. And but there was something that happened to me a couple years ago, or about not a couple years ago, about 6 years ago now. Geez, 7 years. This coming
Okay.
September. A personal thing with my family, and Star Wars got me through it. And not just that, but the EU, specifically the EU. I've been reading the EU since the start of high school. I'm a senior now. I was a freshman when I first read the Thrawn trilogy. It's got me through high school, got me through COVID. You know, I was reading the EU. I remember, obviously we had online schooling when
Right.
COVID happened. I would get up, get my school done, and then go read the Bantam era. I was in the midst of the Bantam era in 2020, and then 2021, I was reading the New Jedi Order. So it's it's got me through some of the toughest times of my life. So it's made those tough times be some of my most cherished times.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I really want the EU to continue. I want there to be more stories, because I talked about this on my Instagram a while back, a long time ago, actually. You know about Heart of the Jedi, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You remember about when all that happened?
Well, like the original plan for it to come out back
Well,
in the
like
90s, or like
when
2015.
when the fan printing was coming out in 2021.
Oh, I just was on the tail end of that, like getting back into this
Oh yeah.
experience. Okay.
Mhm.
So, but I have a copy of the book.
Oh, that's good. I do
Yeah,
too.
I was lucky enough that my first YouTuber, Ben over at Star Wars Timeline, I watched him. I won it off his channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
and he's, sent it and it's in great shape. And then all of a sudden, because as I collected these, and I don't mean to get off your story because I
You're
want to
good.
go back to that because it was beautiful, by the way. And I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. And it's affected my life too. But it was a great copy. So then I started digging into it. And this book was like hard to get. And then it's on eBay for like $400. And I'm like, holy crap. So then I learned about the story and how, somebody put it up there and Disney found out or somebody and they took it down. And yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a pretty wild story.
hmm Well, that book to me, even though it was supposed to release 3 decades ago, that was like the first EU book that it's like it was a new EU book that had just come out, and we were all reading it together for the first time as fans and experiencing it and talking about it. I never had gotten that experience before, and I may not get it again.
Yeah.
That's why I want the E to continue so badly. Because when new canon fans, they get their books, they come out, they're talking about it, they're experiencing and loving it with each other. It's a community thing that they're doing.
Yes.
We want that too, but we can't get that. We're just reading books that have been out forever, and which is great. I love reading these books. These books are everything to me, but I want new books.
Yeah.
I want new stories that I can experience with everyone, not just have to be, I haven't read that yet, that kind of stuff. Again, I love reading this stuff, but I want new stuff and new EU, that is, and hopefully one day we'll get some more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you never really know what could happen. We really don't. Who knows, what Disney decides to do and Lucasfilms and that whole program. And it's always getting shook up over there in the media. But yeah, back to your story, brother. I appreciate you very much for sharing that. And that's awesome. And people don't realize about like how Star Wars can affect your life like that. Because I had, about a year and a half ago, I had some situations arise, basically a life-changing health condition for myself. And besides my family and coming back to Star Wars, it saved my life, man, for real. So thank you for sharing that. And obviously it could, it kind of shines through of how you present yourself and, your faith is important to you. You go to school, you got plans, you like to read like most kids and young adults and people don't really read much anymore. And you need that. Star Wars is like a safety blanket for me amongst other people. So yeah, I wanted to ask that question, man. And I appreciate you sharing that for real.
I don't mind at all. It's what happened. It's a family. It was a family thing. Let's just say my dad
Yeah.
cheated. Let's
Okay.
just start there, and then you can probably guess what happened after that. Family life turned upside down.
Oh yeah,
And,
that shakes a lot of.
it completely changed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And in these books, even before I started reading the books, helped me because I mean, obviously 2019, that's when freshman year happened. 2016 is when the whole thing with my family happened. But 2016, hey, Rogue One was coming out. Next year we had Last Jedi. Next year we had Solo, and then we had I guess that's it. Mando came out in 2019, right? So, but yeah, even the Disney canon at that time was helping me. Star
Yeah.
Wars was helping
Yeah.
me. So, see, that's why you've probably seen my history. I ain't the biggest Filoni fan, but if people like him, if Filoni and his story are getting people through stuff, thank God for that, and that's great. So I mean, I kind of make fun of Filoni for fun, but because that's just, I kind of
It's
like
all
that.
right.
I think it's funny sometimes, but I don't. I try not to stay on that. Sometimes
Right.
I want to focus on the stuff I like.
The
My
positive.
Instagram, my Twitter, I kind of just screw around. Same with my Discord. I don't know if you're in my Discord, but
No, I'm not quick with them. So the people listen
Oh.
that I am a part of, I might not respond much because I'm not. That's not my style. I grew up with like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak and stuff. If you guys ever heard of them, so
well, I know what TeamSpeak is.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some people like Filoni. I like Filoni. I think him and John are doing like the best they can with what they got and trying to really follow through. So, but yeah, I mean, as long as you were passionate about this, like you said, it's Star Wars, but
Mhm.
it's Star Wars to everybody in their own way. Just like Luke to you and I it's like we grew up with that. Okay, somebody grew up with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and now kids are growing up with Rey. Like that's their Luke, Anakin in a sense. If you follow what I'm trying to say there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, we're all gonna have things that we like and don't like. I mean, and it's okay to talk about them or poke fun of, And
Yeah.
I know you post a lot of facts too. I noticed on your Instagram, and them are really
Yeah.
cool.
That I don't know if you like that phrase I used. This is a fact.
Yeah.
That comes from the EU.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
Tino
can
Cobb.
I can imagine. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Right.
phrase. That's
But
that's why they use that.
I was gonna say some of them I don't try to read. The facts
Yeah.
themselves because I don't want to get.
Right. It is
You know what I'm saying.
spoilery. They're
Yeah.
detailed. Yeah.
Which is good though, but you put a
Yeah.
lot of work into them, and they look
Mhm.
nice. I'll have to link that in the description. Sometimes I
Yeah.
forget to do that after the end of the show. I got to write a little note here. But yeah, I'm on Twitter, kinda. I don't go on there, so I don't really mess around with it. I was just trying to get in contact with certain people.
You're not miss. What's cool about Twitter though, you can talk to the authors. They respond to their Twitter. Like Ari Salvatore, I've talked to on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Kevin J. Anderson, I've talked to. Stackpole is probably the most active. I think that's it. But yeah, you can go on there and talk with the author. That's why I like Twitter.
Yeah.
Ask them a question, they'll answer.
That's good. Good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll have to learn it a little more.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to. There's a few I'd like to talk to.
Yeah.
But the facts, them look great. I forgot to mention that earlier. That your
Thank you.
Instagram is pretty popping, and them are cool. You put a lot of hard work into them, and they look good. So
I try.
Do you collect? I don't mean to jump off. Do you collect anything other? Like, is Star Wars the only fandom that you're into?
The other one is The Walking Dead. I'm actually just ordered the entire DVD set for all the seasons.
Nice.
I'm also a big fan of the comics. I read all the comics too, the Walking Dead comics. I read the whole series, loved it. That's probably my other fandom. One I also really like is Stranger Things, but there's not much to that. It's just the TV show. I know there's some comics. I know there's a couple of novels, but I really enjoy that series too. But my two main ones is Star Wars and The Walking Dead.
Cool.
It always has been. So,
good.
But yeah, The Walking Dead's my big one.
Do you have any plans? Well, I mean, I love The Walking Dead too. I never read any of the comics, but The Walking Dead could be a whole other conversation here for us. But do you collect any other, like, the comics? Do you have like Star Wars? Like, are you into the Star Wars side of comics as well too? Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't. I've a lot of the ones I've read I've pirated, which I know is not a good thing, but I wanted to read them, so whatever.
Hey,
Um,
you're reading, man. That's
but
a good
I
thing.
have been trying to collect a lot of the trade paperbacks. I have them kind of just sporadically on the shelf here in chronological order.
Nice.
But yeah, I've read some of the comics. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Crimson Empire. I've read Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand. Jango Fett Open Seasons is probably one of the rare items I have in my collection.
I was going to ask that. Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Good luck trying to find this for good price. I found it for $30. The steal. But this is a good series too. Nice. I'm trying to get Tales of the Jedi. I have Golden Age of the Sith. This is all I have, but I want all the trades. The trades is what I like. That's kind of my favorite thing. I love the covers on them. They look great on the shelf. A
little more pricey to go that way, right?
It's a little pricey. Yeah, it can. Yeah. Actually, most of these I've only gotten for about $20, which is a good price for a trade. So I don't mind paying that for a trade. I haven't. Yeah, I mean, they're not that expensive. Like some of them are though. Like for some reason, Crimson Empire 3 is expensive. I don't know why. I got the first two for a normal price, but the third one I could never find for a good price.
Yeah, I've been just buying the Epic collections.
I have Dark Empire Epic collection.
Like I'm just getting into this comic book side of stuff too, you know. So yeah. I mean the Epic collections, but even them are pricey, you know.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna get the Epic collection, you kind of have to buy them like right when they come out. Like Dark Empire, I pre-ordered. Now you won't find it under $100.
Yeah, I know.
It was like 30 when I got it.
I looked for that because Only Good Games, another fellow listener, and Marcel and them guys, they told me about Dark Empire. I had no idea. It's like, there's something else I know. I got to try to, but it sounds really good. It sounds really good.
It's just not the biggest fan of that series. I don't hate it, but I'm not like Dark. Hey, you remember Dark Empire?
Okay.
But I've read it. The first Dark Empire was good, but it was maybe not good. It was decent. Dark Empire 2 and 3 I didn't like, but
I can't compare yet because I don't own it, but I want to.
Yeah.
So maybe if you could find me a deal like that, I'll take it from you.
I saw the Dark Empire, like one of the original Dark Empire trades, going for around $20 on Mercari. Get that website, dude.
Okay.
Get it.
Sure.
You will love it.
Good folks on there? Good folks on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a legit website. A lot of collectors a lot of Star Wars collectors.
Good.
Go on there. And it's like I said, it's a mobile app you can get. I don't know if I'm sure they have a website for it online, but
yeah, probably.
But it's an app. Just download it from the App Store or whatever phone you have, and
right on. Cool.
Just it's awesome. Lots of good deals on there.
Good. Well, man, we got a lot. I mean, your sisters got you into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Helped you through a hard time. It's keeping you reading, keeping you motivated, kind of leading in the. Do you have plans like to continue? Like, do you want to get into the media side of things, or do you like to write? Do you like to draw? Is there like any?
I enjoy writing. I'd love to write a Star Wars book one day, even if it is new canon. That'd be fun. Yeah. Writing is something I do enjoy. I was pursuing film for a while, but I'm kind of unsure if I want to do that still.
Okay. Well, you're young. You got options yet.
I'm a big history guy, which makes sense because Star Wars, that's a history, right? A timeline. So that passion that I have for history kind of is involved with Star Wars too. So that's I do maybe want to be a history teacher. That's on the table. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
It'd be a lot of work for not pay, but
I was just gonna say that teachers they deserve more than they get.
Right. They deserve a lot more. They deserve $100,000 a year in my mind, at least.
Oh yeah, they're teaching our kids. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's but I would only do that because I would enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, you got plans, you got options. You know, you
Mhm.
got a good head on your shoulders from what I've seen and listened to, and how you come across and how passionate you are. I love doing this so much, and I love people coming on and sharing their moments, and me being able to hear them and share back, and it's just so much fun, man. You got a good head on your shoulders.
Well, I appreciate that.
Do
I had
you?
a question though
Sure, go
about
ahead.
just a quick question.
Sure.
How did you get into contact with John Jackson Miller?
Well, I met him a few times.
Oh, really?
He. I have a hard time. Like, I have to stand up. I got some nerve and muscle problems, so I stand most of the time unless I can lay down. So I can't really travel far anymore now. Really stinks. But he was about an hour away, and I made the ride and met him at this comic book shop. And then about a month later, I find out he's coming to my local town to the library to put on like a show, and it's going to have a Star Wars Reads Day, and the 501st is coming, and this whole big ordeal. And I'm like, holy moly. So I just got to talk to him, and I was there a little early, obviously. And he's just a really nice guy, down to earth, you know? And I'm like, okay. So I just reached out to him, and he like, oh yeah, you know, absolutely. I'll come on. And I'm from Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. So yeah, nice guy. I've reached out to other authors. A lot of them have things and contracts, and you know, so it's a touch and go type of deal. Some of them got back to me, and I appreciate that. Very nice, very kind. So it's really cool. But yeah,
I'll ask that 'cause I'd like to have an author come on
yeah.
my channel. I don't care who, but
I mean, I understand where they're coming from. They have obligations, and
oh yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and it's like
their job, right?
I'm not going to disrespect or say anything out of context because I'm a fan of it all. What it really boils down to is I'm a fan of it all, you know. But I like the EU stories; they're just really good. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got in contact with them. But do you? I mean, I was going to ask, do you have any other like future plans for the channel? Are you working on something?
Well, I kind of make videos as I think of them. Like I did a video recently on what was it?
Your favorite books, I believe.
Oh yeah, that one I did, and then there's a couple of others. Junior Jedi Knights, I did one about that, and kind of like where its exact placement is in the timeline, because that's kind of we don't really know. But I don't really have any big plans. I don't like I said. I mainly use YouTube for streaming.
Yeah.
But my main platform is Instagram. That's
Okay.
my main platform. That's where I nerd out the most. Do the most on there.
Okay.
A lot of people have asked me to do reviews. I'm not a big review guy.
Right.
I'm just not into. I rather like I guess analyze the lore. I guess
That's a good way to put it.
really,
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just not a big review guy. You know, because I don't feel like I have much to say. I like the book or I don't like the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I know a lot of people are good at it. Like Matt Wilkins is good at it. He's really good at it.
Yeah, Matt's good at it. Meg Reviews is really good.
Meg.
She goes in depth, boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Alex is good. I mean, everybody. What I love about it the most, even Ben from Timeline, everybody's got their own. It's crazy because you're gonna say something that stands out to them the most, and it's so cool to hear everyone. Everybody's got something different to say. Like I've yet to find one that's like, you know what I'm saying. But you're right. Having to do reviews, you got to kind of have that niche. It's got to be in your wheelhouse. Some people just, I've tried to do it and I don't feel. So the way I'm doing it is kind of my own way to do it now. If you check out the Rogue Planet one, you know. But
I'll check it out after the stream.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say, I like the conversations when you stream live. I'm just never up that late. You know?
Yeah. I like to do it. I used to do it a lot more, but I don't do it as much anymore. Usually right after I get off work, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I work at a restaurant that has a bar, so we're, obviously up a little late. Yeah.
Right.
Which I don't mind. We make good money, so.
Yeah. Well, get that collection.
Home, put some casual clothes on because obviously we have a work uniform. And just go to town and go stream,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Talk about Star Wars in the night off. So Yeah.
Right on. Well, yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. Maybe one time if I can drink enough coffee or something, I can stay up and jump on there and shoot the breeze with you boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Matt will come on every so often. I don't know if you've seen that. Matt and I Matt's actually just a couple of hours from me.
Oh,
He
cool.
does not live very far. He lives about 5 hours from me. So, in fact, he said, and I actually looked this up. If I go down I-95 towards where he's at, I'll like just straight. I'll go to his house. I'll
Yeah,
be at his place. He's not
and
that far from me.
that's cool. And Matt, he's talking about Matt Wilkins, folks, and he's like the guru of the expanded universe.
Yeah, he's kind of the
He's
guy
very
that
knowledgeable.
this.
Yeah, very nice
Yeah.
guy. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, that's
So
good,
I
man.
mean, he said, this summer we may meet up and do a stream, which would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Because either I'm gonna go his way or he's gonna come over here towards where I'm at. I live near Dallas, so whatever, we'll figure something out.
For sure.
But probably meet up at like a restaurant. I don't know, whatever he wants to do. I'm kind of, I guess we'll figure it out. But it's something that we're both thinking about meeting up sometime.
Well, that'd be cool and that'd be interesting. And yeah, he's sure opened up a lot of minds to this and brought a lot to the expanded universe, a lot of time and effort for sure. So the man deserves some credit, folks. He's brilliant and a nice guy and fun, and he's passionate about Star Wars and such. So now I want
to. Marcel, he's always complaining how he can't meet up with us because he's all the way up north.
Yep, Canada, right? So now I want to ask you some fun stuff while we wrap things up here. So these are pretty easy. I ask everyone kind of the same thing because everyone so far, I've got a lot of different answers, but then I've got a few that are like Lando Calrissian is a lot of people's favorite character.
Really?
Yeah. So who's yours?
If you're talking about in general, movies and EU.
Yeah. All of
I would say in total, gosh, it changes. It's either Luke or Anakin. Anakin Skywalker. I say that because my favorite EU character is Anakin Solo, but my favorite movie character is Anakin or Luke. Anakin Skywalker or Luke. I haven't really. At the moment, it's Luke.
Okay.
Today it's Luke. It may be Anakin
tomorrow.
So,
like Revenge of the Sith Anakin, or
well, early Revenge of the Sith Anakin, late Clone Wars Anakin. That's Anakin.
All right, well that's good. That's good. And
then Luke, obviously, Return of the Jedi Luke.
Okay, yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
fair enough. But yeah.
Well, actually, A New Hope Luke is pretty good too. I don't know.
It's a toss-up. That's another in-depth question there, huh?
Yeah.
So what type of character would you be? Would you be a Jedi, a smuggler?
I would probably be a Jedi. Yeah.
Okay.
Basic, but it's the most me.
No.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to follow that true path. Okay. Because I have some issues there, but that's a topic for another time as well.
A Jedi from Luke's Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Okay.
Because I think that's the most Jedi. They're the purest Jedi, I would say.
Okay.
Luke and then his order, they're the most pure Jedi.
Good point. What would your name be?
Well, my name I already have.
So
I don't know. I don't really have. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. My Star Wars name.
A lot of people I catch them with this one, and it's like, really, you never thought of a name that you'd be?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Darth. How about Darth EU? There you go.
All right. Okay.
As a Jedi, Darth EU. No, I don't know.
All right.
I probably use my regular name. My real name is Lance LeBrock. Leibrock. That's pretty Star Wars.
That sounds good too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my real name. So I'll stick with it.
Good. Interesting. Yeah. That works. That fits. Sounds good. Sure, we'll go with it. Good. Favorite color lightsaber?
Blue. I've always been a big blue lightsaber fan. It's just, you think of a lightsaber, you think of a blue lightsaber. I mean, Well, I guess some people think of a green one.
Yeah, green for me right away. That or red, but I want to be a Jedi. You know.
Purple's cool too. Yellow, white.
Yeah, white.
Yeah, those are all good.
Yeah. Is there any final thoughts? Anything that you want to say or get out there?
I don't know. Here's what I want to say. I think everyone who's watching this, if you haven't given the EU a shot, give it a shot. That's all I gotta say. Give it a shot. See if you like it. Yeah. Start with the Thrawn trilogy, or just start with a book from your favorite era and go from there.
Perfect.
I think you won't regret it.
Yeah. Simply put, my friend. Simply put. There you have it, folks. The Star Wars Expanded Universe team, right here, sharing some thoughts, some ideas, some personal stuff. It was great. He's got live streams that are really good. Get some really good conversations on there. His Instagram does some really good job with some facts. Really nice design. Really impressive, man. They're really good. So I'm gonna link that down below. Same with his channel. Maybe you'll see me on there one time with way too much coffee.
I always stream late. Sometimes I do stream early. If I stream early, nobody joins. So,
well, I'm an early guy. I'd like to do morning streams with coffee. That'd be fun.
That's fair.
You know, I'm not the young gun anymore. That's your guys. You guys are gonna take the torch and go with it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes Matt will join, Marcel will join.
Yeah.
The older guys.
Yeah. But yeah,
Matt's a father of 2 sets of twins, so I don't blame him for being out that late.
Yeah, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we can set this up. It's been fun. I've had a blast. I'm going to link all your stuff, Instagram and his channel down below. Check him out. Support him. Go subscribe. Check him out on Instagram. I don't know what else to say, man. It's just been fun. You present yourself well. I'm just so impressed with your experience and how you got involved and, how it brought you back and put some fire in your life again and some light. Yeah. That's good. If you like what I'm doing, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your grandma. My grandma's watching. And in fact, it's my grandma's birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Grandma.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Yeah, love you. But that's it. That's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And
all right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And we'll see you guys soon.